ready.
Google, this is Houston. Please call Endeavor and ISS for a voice check.
Let's do what we've got to do, which is say hello to them. And so what I do is this. I say, Endeavor, ISS, this is Miles O'Brien with Google. How do you hear me?
Miles, we have you loud and clear. How do you hear us?
5 by 5, Commander Mark Kelly. Good to see you guys. You look hale and hearty. Congratulations on installing the Alpha Magnetic Spectrometer. That's great news. I wanted to, before we get to the questions from folks, there wasn't a lot of time for folks on Google Moderator to weigh in on the tile damage. I'm curious what your thoughts are on what you've seen. How concerned are you about these ding tiles on the belly of the shuttle?
Yeah, so we took a look this morning at some of the photos and the message traffic that came up. There's 3 areas that, are a little bit of concern. The team on the ground will decide over the next couple days if we have to take a closer look at it. But the current damage doesn't seem, we've seen this kind of stuff before, and it's not too big of a concern for us.
All right, good. Without further ado, let's get to some of our questions. Folks on Google Moderator weighed in with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of good questions. And the first one is a video question that comes from Spencer Kelly, I think no relation, in Miramichi, Canada. Let's roll it.
Hi, Commander Kelly. I'm Spencer Kelly, but I don't think we're related. I live in Miramichi, Canada. I was wondering, after 4 times going to space, what do you look forward to most in going to space?
Hey, hi, Spencer.
Mark, I don't know. Could you hear it?
We have an honorary Canadian on board next to me. Yeah, we heard the question, Miles. After 4 times in flight,
okay,
what do I look forward to the most? Well, these missions are very, very challenging and very rewarding. There's a lot to do. I particularly like looking at the Earth and the small amount of chance we get, but also flying through the space station is an awful lot of fun. So those 2 things are high on my list.
All right, let's go to question number 2. This one is a text question, actually a couple of questions for you, Mark. One of them comes from Watertown, New York. The first one, an observation from an old Marine to an old sailor. I don't know if you like the old part, but he's a sailor for sure. Come back safely. What's in store for our space program remains to be seen. It will be exciting, but not as exciting as seeing Gabby back on her feet at full throttle. And then this one from St. Mary's, Ohio. This one is, he says, Mr. Gifford, is it difficult leaving your wife even though she's doing well? I think she would want to be where you are now. God bless you and your wife and the whole crew. And, Mark, I'll just button it up with, I know Gabby had surgery yesterday. I assume you've had some updates. How are things going?
Well, I had the chance at the end of the day to call her mom and her chief of staff and my brother periodically through as the surgery was going on, and she's doing really well. Everything went as planned. Her neurosurgeons are very happy. She's recuperating, and she's actually getting back to therapy today. So it went really, really well.
Now, of course, Gabby was at the launch. I understand you're carrying her wedding ring with you. Do you have it on you? And also, I'm just curious. I know you have a busy day up there. Oh, you have it. Let's see it. It's great, right around your neck.
It's right there.
In the course of your busy day, obviously you have a lot to think about up there. Your thoughts must go to her as well.
Yeah, obviously this has been a long road since January 8th for us. Her having surgery yesterday was not planned all along, but she was ready, and the doctors, wanted to do it then, and didn't make sense to wait a couple weeks until I got back. So I've been thinking a little bit about that, but it's pretty common surgery, and it went really well. She was really excited to be at the launch, really enjoyed it a lot. She was there with not only my kids, but all the children and spouses of the rest of the crew, and they really had a great time, despite the fact that we went through some clouds there in about 20 seconds.
Yeah, I think it was about 20 seconds after launch, you guys disappeared. I tell you what, pass the mic over to Ron Guerra. And Ron, who is a space station keeper and has spent a little bit of time up there, you tweeted a photo of the Mississippi River the other day, and NASA has been sending images as well. What's it like to see the devastation of that flooding from space?
Well, Miles, that's an interesting question because we do have this sense of isolation being up here, living off the planet. But at the same time, even though we have this sense of isolation, we have the ability to be more connected with things on the ground because we fly over it all the time. So, watching the Mississippi River flooding on the news and then flying over it are two different things. And seeing with our own eyes the devastation and the tragedy that's going on in that area of the country, is really something. And we feel a responsibility to try and document that as best we can as time allows and take as many pictures of that area as we can.
All right, our next question is a video question. It's aimed at Mike Fink, so while we're playing it, why don't you send the microphone over to Mike, and let's listen. This one comes from Wilmington, North Carolina, from Callie Davis and Anderson Brandt.
I'm Callie Davis.
I'm Anderson Brandt.
And we're from Wilmington, North Carolina, and we were wondering what's the hardest thing about being in space.
The hardest thing about being in space.
Hello from the International Space Station. Got your question. And Callie and Anderson, my favorite thing about being in space is flying. And yesterday we opened up the hatch to the International Space Station, and I could really stretch my legs and fly from one end to the other. And we have a beautiful space station. I also really like looking at our beautiful planet. It's the most beautiful planet in the whole solar system.
All right. We had promised to see Greg Chamatoff and Greg Johnson. Obviously, they're busy doing other things. Andrew Feustel is there. Why don't you pass the microphone to him? And for viewers out there, Andrew flew. Are you going to bring him in? You're going to bring him in now? Drew was on the last servicing mission to the Hubble Space Telescope, performed a series of spacewalks out there, has some more spacewalking duties ahead. And here's the question for you, Drew. Hey, we're getting a late ad here. There's Box. Greg Johnson comes in. The pilot never gets enough respect. I'm glad you did that. That was a good move. Drew Feustel, this one from the Grinning Man from YouTube. The question is, how realistic is Obama's promise to visit the planet Mars by 2030? Do you believe it is possible to do it sooner?
Hey, hi Miles, how you doing? Thanks for the question, and it's sort of a bigger question I think to answer is what direction we're going, and I think we're all as space explorers interested in eventually getting onto Mars, and also visiting the moon since that's our nearest neighbor. In my vision, can we do it sooner? I think we can, and hopefully with the progress we're making with the commercial launch vehicles and what NASA's doing for heavy lift, and with the intent, as long as we have the intent to make it onto to Mars eventually, we will get there. As humans, I don't think we'll ever stop exploring, and we're all excited to be a part of the great adventure, and really all starting right here on the International Space Station.
Well, a lot of people who know a little bit about space would tell you the hurdles are not technological, they're more political, right?
Well, certainly, Miles, that's one way to look at it, and there are a lot of challenges that we have ahead. Of course, one of the great things, as I mentioned, about the space station is that it's international, and I think all of us support the notion of international cooperation for longer-term space exploration, not only to the moon, but eventually onto Mars.
All right, pass it over to the pilot, Greg Johnson. Box, question for you. This one comes from Hanging with Joe from San Francisco. At what point during the mission does it sink in that you are one of the only few people on Earth to have been able to see Earth from space?
I think it's a great honor. There have been quite a few people, almost 500 now, and just like any other mode of transportation.
You need to turn your mic on, Box. Turn your mic on. Turn the mic on.
Sorry about that. As a late ad, I guess I didn't get the brief.
All the time. No worries. No worries.
Yeah, as a point of order, both Taz and I were not. We were not AWOL. We were actually just finishing up with the AMS install. But to answer your question, I think that any mode of transportation like cars and airplanes progress along. And in space, there's been almost 500 people that have looked at the Earth from space. And I think in a few decades, there will be many multitudes of more people that get to see the Earth from space. But I can tell you it's a great honor, and I cherish every moment.
Well, I will say here to that. I hope I'm among them. Send it over to Commander Kelly there. This is the highest-rated video question of all of the Google moderator questions. So we're going to roll the video. This comes from Ethan from San Francisco. All the Google moderator participants voted this the most interesting question. So here it comes.
I know Commander Kelly's wife, Representative Giffords, has really worked hard on solar policy in Congress and led by example, installing panels on her roof in Tucson. I was hoping to get the crew's thoughts not just on solar power, but the power of space exploration to really challenge ourselves and develop new technologies that not only enable space exploration, but also benefit everyone back at home.
Yeah, great question. So that's one of the. It's one of the interesting things about when you do something that's really, really hard, like traveling in space. Getting off the planet and into Earth orbit and going to the moon are very difficult things to do. And when you do something like that and you push technology forward, you get a lot of benefits. Things that people currently use every day, like telecommunications and their cell phones and computers, had a lot to do with the United States reaching to put men on the moon, and then what we've been doing in space exploration for the last 40 years. So, it's really a technology driver, and it's really important for our country. So, obviously, we're here, and we're big promoters of space exploration, but it's one thing that drives our economy, and it's, important for the advancement of science and technology. But great question.
All right, this one's, a couple of you can take this if you like. This one comes from Smith5SE from Michigan. Commander Kelly and crew, he says, how do you feel about using social media to share your personal story as an astronaut and inspire others? Has it been beneficial for you, and will you continue to use it for outreach upon wheel stop? So the question, the tweeting and all the social networking, the way you connect with people has changed.
Yeah, Miles, I've certainly noticed the difference between my last mission 2 years ago and this mission with social media, including tweeting. We were, some of us, like myself, Box, and a few others, were able to tweet right before our launch, and we shared our special meals that we had and what it was like to wake up on launch day and everything. And people really enjoyed it. And that's how we pay back to the people who pay for our salaries, is to share this adventure with them. Another tweeter on board is Ron Guerin. I think he's gotten a lot of popularity from showing some of the things he's been able to see from space.
Yeah, Miles. I think those of us that have the privilege of flying in space and seeing the Earth from space, we understand that it's a responsibility to share that with everybody as best we can. And some of the social media that we use, Twitter, and we have websites. Fragile Oasis is a blog site that we're using, is a way for us to have people follow along on the mission, not just as spectators, but almost as fellow crew members, and to really participate in what we're doing. And like I said, we have we understand we have a big responsibility to share what we're doing with as many people as we can, and this is one of the tools that we use to do that.
This can go to, I'll tell you what, let's go to, send it over to Drew, I guess, for this one. This one comes from Florida on YouTube. When you're in orbit, do you have to make a lot of maneuvers due to satellites, space debris, and other stuff?
Okay, so Miles, thanks. I guess that was a question. Do we have to make a lot of maneuvers? And the answer is sometimes. Fortunately, many of those items are tracked for us. Well, all the items that we make maneuvers for are tracked for us, and so we do that from time to time. It's not as frequent as some might think. Obviously, the bigger danger for us is items that are not tracked, and that's especially true for spacewalkers. So it's something we think about, but fortunately, many of those issues are taken care of by the ground control teams that are watching out for us.
All right, send it over to Box there. Greg Johnson, this one comes from DJ Admiral on YouTube. What kind of internet connection do you get up there? Is it fast? Any restrictions? Wink, wink. What's the IP range of visits from outer space?
Good question, DJ. As shuttle guys, we really don't partake in the internet. We've got synchronizations with our emails. It kind of gives us a pseudo email or pseudo internet to communicate with our families and friends and our associates. However, I'm going to pass this to Ronnie because on the station, I believe that they have a better internet than we do on the shuttle.
So this is something that's somewhat new, is our capability to use the internet. And how it works is we could be at a laptop here on the International Space Station and basically control remotely a PC or a computer down on the ground that is connected to the internet. So we're limited to when we have the correct communications coverage to be able to be on the internet, and there is some lag in it, so it does work slower than you're probably used to on the ground. But it's a very useful tool, and it really helps us to stay connected with what's going on the Earth.
All right, let's send this one up to Mike Fink in the back there. This comes from Mondia Blue in Houston, Texas. You know that place. Do you get to take anything extra on the shuttle, like pictures, a teddy bear, or maybe a special blankie?
Well, every mission takes a lot of. I mean, we try to carry as much scientific payload and useful things that we can, like resupply for the International Space Station. So we're very limited to take personal gear. I did bring some pictures of my family. I have 3 beautiful kids and a really nice wife. She's also beautiful. I brought a few small trinkets for the kids. And that's pretty much all that we can bring. On the space shuttle, we're only gone from home for about 2 or 3 weeks, so it's not a big deal, and so we don't need to bring any special blankies.
All right, do you have any of your personal trinkets with you, on you, that you can show us?
I was just working along with Drew here on our spacewalking suits, our EMUs that we're going outside with tomorrow. So I don't have any of my equipment on me, any of my rings or any of the other trinkets. But I think we have some here from the other guys.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah, Miles. This is the Peace Love Gabby bracelet.
Wow. That's pretty special. I'm glad. I wish I had one myself. Hey, this one, final kind of. This is one of my favorites from Innocent Nightmares, Garland, Texas. Do you ever actually say, Houston, we have a problem?
You know, if we had an issue, we would just normally call the ground with Houston, Endeavor, and then we would talk about our problem.
Yeah. All right. That's about all the time we have. I got to implore upon you, group somersault. Can you do one for me?
Yeah, no problem. I think we can do that, right? That's certainly not as graceful as it could have been. That's why we usually hesitate to do those, but it's certainly fun to do.
Well, I got to say, at least you're having some fun up there. You're not going to the Olympics with that. Keep the day jobs, guys, or night jobs on this mission.
Yeah, Miles, and I'll send you one of these bracelets.
I would like one. Thank you to all of you very much. Appreciate your time. I know you got a busy mission ahead. You got the spacewalk ahead. And thanks to all of you for your time and to be a part of this and for watching us and sending us such terrific questions. You can see portions of this interview on the PBS NewsHour and the entire interview on the NewsHour's YouTube channel. For everyone at Google, YouTube, and the PBS NewsHour and Space Shuttle Endeavour and ISS, I'm Miles O'Brien.
Station Endeavour, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.